Today, we're stepping into a pretty unique world, the one from Bong Joon-ho's film Snowpiercer, the 2013 one.
Ah, yes, quite a film.
The notes and analysis you've got here, they paint this picture of a future that's, well, born from total desperation, like a huge attempt to fix climate change that just went completely wrong, catastrophically wrong.
Right.
And what's left of humanity, according to this material, is stuck on this enormous train, a train that just keeps moving.
Nonstop.
It's a wild premise right from the get-go.
And what's really interesting in the source material here is how it grounds it, It gives specifics. It wasn't just poof, ice age.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, it talks about this chemical agent, CW7, launched back in 2014 trying to stop global warming.
Oh, okay.
But the result, the unforeseen thing, was this, extreme new ice age, minus 100 degrees Celsius by 2023, it says.
Minus 100.
Yeah. And the train, built by this mysterious Mr. Wolford character, it's not just a safe place, it's literally the only place.
The only refuge.
Exactly. And it runs on this perpetual inverse solar energy system. That's what keeps it moving through, the frozen wasteland outside.
So this train it's everything. It's the world, the sanctuary, the last bit of human civilization.
Pretty much, yeah.
And your material, it lays out this really clear plot summary. So our goal today for this deep dive is to kind of unpack that initial setup.
Get our bearings.
Exactly. Understand the world Wilford built inside this train and figure out what kicks the whole story off, the catalyst. We're pulling this straight from the details you've given us.
Makes sense.
And I know your notes go way deeper later on into themes and filmmaking stuff. But today is really just about setting the scene in this very unique place.
And, the analysis points this out immediately. The train isn't just shelter, it's like a tiny version of society.
A microcosm.
Yeah, exactly. But rigidly, strictly segregated. And the fascinating part, or maybe disturbing part, is how the physical layout of the train is the social structure. They're one and the same.
Wow. Okay, so the architecture literally dictates your place in society.
That's what the source suggests, yeah.
Okay, let's spend some time really getting into that. What life is like inside the train, based on the material.
Sounds good.
So diving right into the heart of it, the material you shared hits us immediately with this brutal social structure. It calls it segregation social.
Hostile segregation.
And it's this really stark division, right, between the tail, the cola, and the frente.
Yeah, back versus front.
The details about the tail section,
Yeah.
they're pretty grim. Passengers are crammed back there. Living conditions are appalling. They're oppressed, barely fed.
As protein blocks, right?
Yeah, just surviving. And almost zero hope. They're shown as this kind of desperate, almost dehumanized group.
And that's completely opposite to the front of the train where the elite live. The notes describe them, up in the forward wagons, living in what you can only call luxury.
Like actual luxury on a train.
Apparently. Abundant food, comfort, space, things the tail section couldn't even imagine just a few cars away.
Wow.
So it's not just a metaphor for class division, is it? The analysis really hammers this point home. The physical layout, this spatial division, it's a chillingly literal expression of class struggle, built right into the foundation.
So the train's structure isn't just how it's built.
No, it is their entire social framework.
So it's like a cage, a physical cage, reinforcing that inequality.
Exact.
And stuck in those awful conditions in the tail, that's where we meet the main guy for this part of the story, Curtis Everett.
Curtis.
Your notes identify him as a survivor from the tail, and he's just fueled by this deep resentment.
And what drives him, the material says, it's really personal. It's about losing friends, losing family in that harsh tail environment.
So it's not just abstract politics for him.
No, the notes stress it's born from real suffering. And he gets recruited by Gilliam.
Who's like the wise old mentor figure.
Yeah, sort of the elder statesman of the tale. He recruits Curtis to lead this levantamiento, an uprising.
An uprising, okay.
And their goal, the one single target that represents flipping this whole system.
Let me guess, the engine.
You got it. Reaching the engine, el motor, right at the very front.
In the journey itself, the source calls it el avance wagon a wagon.
Moving car by car.
Yeah, this painstaking, probably brutal advance towards the front. And it's not just a walk in the park, right?
Oh, definitely not. The path is designed to be tough. They've got armed guards blocking sections.
Defending the privilege.
Right. And the train itself has these engineered hurdles, traps, meant to just stop them cold, break their spirit. It's a gauntlet.
Sounds intense.
And while they're pushing forward, the material talks about these descubrimientos en el trayecto, discoveries along the way.
Okay. What kind of discoveries?
This is where the film, as the notes describe it, makes that inequality just gut-wrenchingly real. As the rebels burst out of their squalor, they suddenly find themselves walking through cars dedicated to, like, absurd luxury.
Like what?
Opulent dining cars, weirdly surreal recreation spaces, like indoor gardens, even working dairies with fresh milk and cheese.
Gardens and dairies on the train while the back starves.
Exactly. The contrast is extreme. Horrifying, really, compared to the misery they just left behind.
Man, that really drives it home, seeing that opulence
Yeah.
literally feet away from the suffering.
Yeah, it solidifies that argument we talked about. The structure is the social order.
It makes class difference brutally concrete. You can't ignore it.
Definitely. And this part of the journey, it also introduces some key people in the rebel group, according to your summary.
Okay, who else is involved?
There's Namgung Minsu. He's tagged as a security expert.
Yeah.
Crucial because he can figure out the door lock system.
The gatekeeper, literally.
Sort of, yeah. And he has his daughter, Yona. She's described as mute, but she has this, like, sharp sensitivity, almost psychic. Turns out to be really important.
And then there's Edgar, younger guy, maybe a bit impulsive, but loyal to Curtis.
Okay, so that's the core rebel team breaking through.
Right. And on the other side, defending the front, they run into Mason.
Mason, the official.
Yeah, the notes describe Mason as just implacable, someone who sees the train's hierarchy not just as necessary, but as, quote, divine order.
Divine order. Wow, that's chilling. Framing oppression as, like, God's will.
Yeah, it adds another layer to it, doesn't it?
Definitely. So the journey moves forward, and the summary mentions a punto critico, a critical point.
Things get serious.
They manage to reach the water car, which sounds pretty vital.
Extremely vital. And Namgung, the security expert, he actually figures out the complex code to open the door.
Okay, success. Access to water.
Well, yes and no. Accessing it, just as the material describes, it triggers this devastating trap.
Oh no, what happened?
Armored cars show up, guards pour out with axes, other close combat weapons. It's brutal. There's an explosion.
So big losses. Yeah, significant losses, including Gilliam, the mentor figure. He dies there. And others sacrifice themselves.
Yeah, that's rough.
And this incident, the analysis really highlights this. It shows the massive, deadly cost of trying to break that established order.
And the defenses they have in place.
Exactly. Specific, brutal defenses. It really makes you question, the price of progress or rebellion in this world.
A huge setback, designed to just crush them.
Seems like it.
But your summary suggests that's not the end of the line for them.
No, not quite. What's left of the group, even after paying that awful price? They still have their main goal in sight.
The engine.
Right, reaching the locomotive, the engine room itself, where Mr. Wilford, the creator, the ultimate boss, is supposed to be.
So that's the next big hurdle waiting for them.
That's what the material indicates, yeah.
Okay, so we've done this initial deep dive using your source material as our guide. We've looked at the frozen world outside Snowpiercer, and then this incredibly rigid, moving society trapped inside. We've walked through the oppression in the tail, got glimpses of the bizarre luxury up front, and traced that first brutal leg of the Revolt's journey.
Yeah, the initial setup and the plot points you've shared, they do a great job establishing this world where survival is totally confined, totally controlled.
Right.
And inequality isn't just like a side effect. It's engineered right into the train's very structure. It's fundamental.
It really is a remarkable setup. Disturbing, but remarkable. And we know your material digs much deeper later on.
Yeah, there's a lot more analysis.
Into big themes like La debacle mundial, that whole global disaster, ideas about freedom, la libertad, and that ongoing class struggle, la lucha de clases.
Plus specific filmmaking stuff, too.
Absolutely. This introduction, looking at the train's world and the start of the revolt, it really just scratches the surface of the deeper analysis presented in your source material. So for you, just thinking about this first look at Snowpiercer, this world inside the train, what really stands out? What's the most vivid thing about life crammed into these moving walls? The sources kind of push us to think about that contrast, right? Between just needing to survive and the brutal systems forced onto that survival.
Yeah, that tension is key. And it leaves you wondering about the train itself, doesn't it, as a symbol?
Also.
Like, is it mainly a lifeboat? Just the last arc saving humanity? Or is it more like a high-tech prison enforcing this brutal, unequal system?
Or something else entirely.
Exactly. Or does the material maybe hint it could be something else altogether? It's a powerful starting point for thought.
Fascinating questions right from the start. Lots more we could potentially uncover as we dig deeper, perhaps.